Hello, I'm Joan Landis. I'm really glad to be with you again. Today we're talking about unhealthy triangles and alliances in family systems. So one of the most easily seen relational patterns that's dysfunctional that we often see in families are what we call a relational triangle. What does that mean? That means that you have two people who have some distress between them, and it seems very hard for them to talk to each other and work things out. And so when that happens, one person will go to a third person and talk to them about this person. And so they talk about that person and, gossip and commiserate and everything. And then nothing really gets fixed here. This person starts feeling betrayed if they find out that this has been happening behind their back. And it's really toxic, okay? And a lot of families make tons of triangles. A genogram is basically a map of family relationships, and sometimes you can just get triangles all over going on. And the reason that people form a triangle is because the direct interaction seems too scary, okay, or too dangerous, and so they'll bulge out and form that triangle. So somebody said that we need to spend less time talking about each other and more time talking to each other. And that really is a great way to go. However, sometimes we're scared, that the communication is going to go south. But anytime you see triangles being formed, you know that there's some fear there and there's some emotional distress. And so if you see triangles in your family, you want to do your best to collapse any triangle that you are involved in. And, if you're one of the original players or if you're, the consultant out here. And so if you notice that somebody's coming to you and talking about somebody else, then, the best thing to do is say, wow, yeah, that sounds tough. Maybe we should go and talk to her together. Maybe we should go and visit with her together. I'll help you. And we'll try to make it pretty safe, but really it sounds like there's some things that need to be worked out there, and let's see if we can do that. And then, of course, you need to learn how to empathize and use your talking stick dialogue and all that stuff, so you keep the relationship and the interaction as safe as possible. But when someone comes to you and is talking about somebody else, it's really your responsibility not to talk trash about someone behind their back, but encourage them to go to them directly or even volunteer. Let's go together. Let's go take her out to lunch and let's see if we can visit a little bit about that. So that's very important. And I think I told you in another module, but I love this, a set of parents would say to their children, hey, you really need to call so-and-so. And their children say, well, what about? And they say, it's really her story to tell. I'm not going to talk behind her back and even give, the details of the story. I'm just telling you, why don't you get together with her and visit a little bit? And that shows, I think, a lot of integrity, so that they're not even trying to, they're trying to even avoid the appearance of, betrayal or disloyalty. So anytime you see those triangles, you know that it's based on fear, and do your best to collapse those and create the direct interaction to be as safe as possible. Now, there's another triangle that often happens, and that's where you have a more serious dysfunctional triangle, where you have somebody who's the persecutor and somebody who's the victim, and then you have a rescuer, okay? And you can go ahead and research more about how that works, but in quite a dysfunctional family, you get that a lot. One person acts as the aggressive person or the person that's acting out, and the other person is, kind of being the martyr, the victim. I can't do much, I'm suffering. And then this other person rescues the victim, and so they connect over that pain and, put the persecutor on the outs, and it's just kind of ugly. And so if you find that your family has one of those triangles, I would suggest that you get into counseling with a professional, because that is dysfunctional. It can be very, very harmful. People can get stuck in that martyr role for years and get stuck in the rescuer role and the persecutor role. And so if someone doesn't spot it and know how to intervene and shake it up and make it a much healthier relationship instead of this triangle, then it can create big problems. So make sure in your family that you don't have triangles going all around, but encourage people to talk directly to each other, and if they need help, offer to go with them and make it as safe as possible, and use those talking stick dialogue points that you should know how to do by now quite well in order to empathize with people, help them feel safe, and then eventually get to problem solving. So, okay, it's been lovely being with you. I hope you've learned a lot in the forums. This week I would love it if you could identify triangles that you have in your family and how it kind of impacts you and maybe why they're happening, and just share those with us. It's something we can all learn from. So anyway, thanks. Bye-bye.